Coming up next on GSL Breaking News, is your water killing you? More on that after the break.
Hello there, welcome back to another exciting tutorial here at the Genius Studios Lab. I am Derek Keels, your host, and today we are going to be showing you how to make a news style lower third for your projects. In case you're doing something that kind of has a news theme, this is a lower third that you can use that kind of follows a news theme. It's something that's pretty simple to do. I'm going to try to keep the tutorial as short as possible, and so let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I am here in Photoshop and I'm using CS6. I like to make my shapes and stuff like that either in Photoshop or Illustrator, and then what we're going to do is after we get done designing our project in here, we're going to move it into After Effects and then begin some animation things. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go up to File and New, and you're going to make sure that you're opening up a project that's 1920 by 1080 or 1280 by 720, however big you want your actual video to be. I set the resolution at 400 and the color mode at RGB, and the background content I have at transparent, and go ahead and click OK. And you're going to come over here and you're going to click on your rectangle tool, and I'm just going to make a really thin, super thin rectangle like this, like so, maybe even a little thinner. So I just hit Control T to bring up these little lines here, and so I could adjust it as I saw fit. Perfect. And hit OK to apply the changes. Great. Now I have that set, and I'm going to make another rectangle. This one's going to be considerably larger, and I'm just going to change the color to a black. So I just come over here and click in this little icon area, double click, and then I can select my color, and perfect, it turns it to black. Now I'm going to just move it by selecting my move tool and going up here until it clicks. Basically, you know, when you move it, it kind of moves it, kind of jumps into position itself, which is really kind of helpful. So it's butted up right against that first one there. And then I'm going to come over here and adjust the fill level. I'm going to bring the fill down to 50%, and that's good. Now I'm just going to click on here, and I'm going to hit Control J to copy that same rectangle, and then I'm just going to bring that same rectangle down here, and I'm going to move it up to the fill up to 100% and hit Control T, and I'm going to make it just a bit smaller. Hit OK to apply those changes, and I'm going to select all three of them, and I'm just going to move them all the way down to the bottom of my composition. All right, so now we've got that together. Next, we need to come over here to the rectangle tool once again, and you click and hold it, and it brings up this fly out window, and you can just click on the custom shape tool. And the custom shape tool, the custom shape I'm going to use is just going to be a triangle. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to hold down shift and create a triangle like so. So pretty simple. The reason why I held down shift is to constrain the proportions, so I get a triangle that is exactly so the proportions of the triangle do not change. So I've got that made. I'm going to hit Control J, that copies it, and just drag it out like so. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to move one in so we can adjust it. I'm going to kind of butt it up against the other shape there if we can, and then I'm going to hit Control J again to copy once again, and perfect. We want to butt it up against there again. All right, now I'm going to hit Control J one more time. We're going to, well, two more times is actually more accurate. And I'm going to hit Control T because I'm going to flip this one, and I want to flip it 180 degrees. So I just came up here and typed in 180 and hit enter. And now I'm just going to move it over so it sits inside of there and hit enter to apply those changes. And then we're going to hit Control J again to copy the upside down triangle, and I'm going to move it over here like so, and then go ahead and hit enter to apply those specific changes and movements. Now I'm going to come over here and just hit shift and click down here, and I'm going to merge all of these triangles together onto one shape. So we'll just go down here to say merge shapes, and now they're all merged. Now it's all one layer there. And then I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to click on rasterize layer because I'm going to make some adjustments to it. I'm going to come over here to my marquee tool, and I'm just going to click and drag out here, and I'm going to select the very bottom and hit delete, just so I'm kind of cleaning up any edges that might have been sticking over. Hit delete there, Control D, and let's take a look. Perfect, that's what we have. Now I'm going to hit Control T to adjust the size down a little bit. I'm going to bring this down like so. I'm going to hit apply to apply those changes, and I'm just going to move it right about here. I'm going to hit Control T again. I'll make it just a little bit bigger. Hit enter to apply those changes. Perfect. Next thing we're going to do with this shape is I'm going to double click right over here to bring up my blending options, and I'm going to click on gradient overlay, and I'm going to select my gradient colors by double clicking. My first color is going to be a red, something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. My second color is going to be a bright orange, and I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to move this over a little bit so that my red takes up more than my orange. You see how it moves the red, adjusts the gradient so that the red takes up more space than the orange. That's kind of how I want to have it, but it's really kind of up to you there. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to apply a stroke, and we're going to change the color of the stroke. So I'm going to come over here and click, and I'm going to change the color of the stroke to another bright orange, if you will, and say OK. And so now we have that created, and I think we're ready to move it into After Effects. So I'm just gonna kind of adjust this a little bit so it's sitting a little nicer. And I'm gonna say File, and we're gonna say Save As, and I'm gonna call it News Lower. If I can type here, News Lower Third 3. Say OK. Okay, great. Now we can get into After Effects, and we can pull that into After Effects by hitting Control I to import this News Lower Third 3. Hit OK, and I'm just gonna bring it in as footage, not a composition. Just go ahead and bring it in as footage and make sure Merge Layers is selected, and then hit OK. Now we have our News Lower Third 3 inside of After Effects. I'm just gonna click and drag it over into our composition. Now I already have a composition that is open. My composition is 1920 by 1080. It's the same size as my lower third, and the duration is 10 seconds. And so you can open up a composition by going up here, New Composition, and you can open up a composition as you see fit. So anyway, I've already got mine open. Now if you look at this lower third, what you can see is the top shape up here and the orange small rectangle, and that's all you can see. And that's because our composition is black right now. Even though all this is transparent, it's set on black. So if you come down here and click this button that says toggle transparency, you can see everything goes transparent, and now you can see the black here, the faded square here, and so on and so forth, rectangle rather. So anyway, now all we really have to do is begin to add our text. And so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to type in, well, first I'm going to select the font. The font I'm going to use is going to be Impact font, and I'm going to type in Genius Studios Lab, or GSL for short, and I'm going to change it into a red color like so, and say OK. And then I'm just going to move it down right over here to the left of my lower third. And I'm going to go to my effects and presets, and I'm going to come over here and type in drop to bring up drop shadow, and I'm going to apply a drop shadow to that. That way it lifts it up off the substrate just a little bit. And then I'm going to click over here on the actual layer and hit Control D to duplicate it. And I'm going to bring that over, and I'm going to change the text, and the text is going to be HD for high definition, and I'm going to change it into a white instead of a red. Hit OK there, and I'm just going to move it so it's right next to the GSL. There, it doesn't have to be perfect, because this is once again just for tutorial purposes. Now I can begin to type in my other little headlines, and so Well, first we're going to do this. I'm going to come over here, click the type tool, and I'm going to type in breaking news. And we're just going to select it. I'm going to make it a little smaller here by adjusting the font size. And there we go. And I want it to fit inside of there. So I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to adjust the font size down until it fits. Perfect. And then we can move it a little bit so that it fits. Come to my effects and presets and apply a drop shadow over that as well. And you can see now we're starting to get a news lower third. I'm just gonna come over here and shrink the size down just a little bit because it's just a little bit too big and it's kind of sticking out of the box. So I'm gonna bring down that size. Okay, excellent. We're really starting to get somewhere. Next, I'm going to type in a headline, but I'm going to change my font to Franklin Gothic book. Perfect. And I'm going to select my type tool and begin to type in a headline. We're going to say Genius Studios Lab teaches lower thirds. Of course, you would be typing in whatever it is that you wanted to type in, and we're just going to, well, since this is the smaller headline, perfect. Put that down here like so, and then I'm going to type my major headline. We're going to say learn news lower thirds today. Perfect. And it's in all caps there. And I'm going to just bring that size up like so. And just kind of move it over, and I'm going to apply a drop shadow to this as well. Drop shadow to that one, and we're going to put a drop shadow on the smaller one here, and we're going to move the Genius Studios Lab. There we go. Perfect. And now this is really beginning to look like a news lower third. So but we're not quite done yet. There are a few more things I want to put in, and so I want right down here on this black bar, this is going to be my scroll bar where the where news kind of scrolls across. So I'm going to just select my type tool once again, click, and I'm going to say please like and subscribe. Can't really see it. Hopefully I spelled it right. We will see when we bring it down. And please is spelled wrong. Inevitably, something like that always takes place. Please like and subscribe. And now I'm just going to shrink down the font size there. And I'm going to make this a yellow, nice bright yellow color over that black background. And then say okay. All right. Perfect. Now we're just going to double click on it, and I'm going to copy that by hitting Control C. Come over here, 1 2 3 4 5 6, just 6 spaces, and then hit Control V, make 6 spaces again, 1 2 3 4 5 6, Control V, 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 or I could always just select all of this and hit Control C, go to the very end, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and just hit Control V once, and now it's super long. Okay, so now all we have to do is move this. So I'm going to come over here and click on the layer. I'm going to hit P to bring up the position, and we're going to move it along the X and move it over, and we're going to keyframe it. So I'm just going to move along the X, move it over like so. Perfect. Now we're just going to, with our current time indicator, set to 0, I'm just going to click on the stopwatch and go all the way to the end of the composition, and then slide it across the X like so. Please like and subscribe. So now we have our scrolling bar that goes underneath there, so that's good. The next thing we're going to do is for this GSL, I'm going to add a little animation to that. We're not going to actually move it, but we're just going to add a light sweep. So I'm going to go over here to my effects and presets and type in light sweep, and then bring up the light sweep, and I'm going to apply it to the Genius Studios Lab kind of logo there. See, as I move my light sweep across it by grabbing this little circle and moving it across, you can see a light sweep there. I'm just going to keyframe this light sweep. So with my current time indicator set to 0, I'm going to click on the light sweep up here and click on the stopwatch, and I'm going to go over to about 2 seconds, and we're going to move it across like so. I'm going to go to 4 seconds or so and move it across again, and I think you get the idea. Go to 6 seconds, about 6 seconds, and move it across again. I'm going to go to 8 seconds, move it back across like so, and then we're going to go to 10 seconds, and I'm going to move it one more time across. Now if you take a look at it, you can see that the light sweep goes across the letters there. So now this is what we have for our breaking news lower third. We're going to do one more thing. You can always have fun with this stuff and kind of do what you want to do, but on this HD for high definition, I'm just going to add a glow. So I'm going to type in glow, and over here my effects and presets window, and go to stylize glow and apply the glow to the HD lettering. And I'm going to bring my current time indicator to 0, and I'm going to bring down the radius of the glow to 0, and then I'm going to hit the stopwatch on the radius, and at 2 seconds we're going to bring the glow up to about 30, and then at 4 seconds I'm going to move it to 0. And then at 6 seconds, we're going to move it back up to 30. Now I could copy these keyframes if I wanted to, but we're just going to go ahead and do it the long way. Go up to 8 seconds and go to 0. Oh, I made a mistake there. Go to 8 seconds. There we go. And at 8 seconds, we're going to make it 0. And then at 10 seconds, we're going to make it 30 one more time. Enter. So now we have those keyframes in place, and now you can see the HD glows and the GSL light sweep goes across. So anyway, now you have this animated lower third. So now all we have to do, let's do this here. We're going to go file, and I'm going to go to import file, and I'm just going to pick a video here really quickly from my sea of videos that I have. And let's see, who we're going to use. We'll use our stage manager here at the Genius Studios Lab, and just go ahead and bring that in and bring it below the lower third. And as you can see, this is what our lower third looks like. So if you take a look at it, you can see this is what we have with the Genius Studios Lab breaking news lower third. Looks just like you're watching your news, CNN or something like that. So anyway, hope this helps. I will indeed include the project file on this, just in case you looked at this tutorial and said, whoa, that's way too hard to do and way too much to go through. I would just download the project file, which is something you can do. But I hope you learned how to do a few things here in After Effects and also in Photoshop. So if you like this tutorial, please click on the like button and subscribe and comment. Let us know that you are out there and liking what we're doing here at the Genius Studios Lab. So with that said, that's it for me. I will see you on the next tutorial.